I love coaching. I wouldn't care if you ever played a game. I got a part-time job now that's an hour of individual every day with 15 linemen, and we ain't never gonna play a game. I don't care. I mean, I love practice. I look forward to going over every day for an hour of individual. You know, so practicing to me is a really, really important. Just a light over here.
Yes, sir.
Right here. Get them all or what you think?
Put that one.
Okay. So I want to speak to you a few minutes about this practice. The most valuable time. Okay? Hit that thing for me, please, go. And practicing to win. Okay? I think that's so important. I love practice, but I like to practice to win. And this is what we're going to talk about. The most important time. When you're on that field, guys, and this is an argument I have with people sometimes. I've stayed up all night. I've been through those sessions, and I mean, I'd go on that practice field. At the University of South Carolina, I stayed up so long working at night. College coaches get into this, too, and pro coaches do. I would have to splash water on my face to get jacked because I'd be so damn tired. But guys, that's the time that you want to be at your very, very best is when you're on that practice. Okay, the practice principles that I really believe in. Number one, and I think this is so important, and Coach Arnsperger that I mentioned earlier, I think he was one of the best I've ever been around at this very thing right here. Practice with a purpose and have the coaches and players on the same page. I've seen, look guys, when I played it, y'all were probably like me. I went to survive practice. I went to survive it. I didn't understand what we were doing other than I knew we were going to go over there and work the crap out of us and whatever. I didn't understand. What I really believe is this. If I tell you, you playing for me, and I say, look, we're pretty deficient at this right now. This is going to catch up with us, it's going to tell us. We're going to spend 15 minutes on that day today and try to get better at that whatever. Okay. They're not idiots. They're not idiots. Coach them. Let them understand where we are. Let them understand what you're trying to get accomplished. So practicing with a purpose, both for coaching and play, and these players need to know. This one goes without much talk. I'm just going to say one thing about practice with toughness. Toughness ain't calling them an MF or whatever. I've coached with guys thought that was toughness. Toughness is doing what you have to do when it's uncomfortable to do it. It's when you're tired. It's when it's not a fun job, and you do the very best you can do it. That's what toughness is to me. It ain't calling them a bunch of damn idiots. Enthusiasm and energy on your part. There was a guy at Georgia named Irk Russell, and I was coming along as a young coach. And Irk Russell was a legend. He was a real legend in the Southeastern Conference. I went up there to visit with him one time, and we went and hey, Coach, how y'all doing?
Good.
We went to, I went up there to see him, and in his locker, he opened his locker, we're going to practice, and in his locker was a sign, and it said, "Hustle, fat ass. If you will, they will." And he was such a motivating guy. He was such a good football coach. I'm young. I looked at that sign and I thought, "Dadgum, boy, that's a good sign." But if you will have enthusiasm in leadership, that kind of helps them. Here's something I'm so big on this, guys, and I want to tell you now. I don't say this in a critical way. You can't imagine how many high school fields I've been on in 36 years of college football coaching, recruiting and things like that. And here's what I see sometimes. I mean, good coaches, guys working their butt off. Okay? But let me give you an example. There was a guy down in Florida that I got to work in I really liked the guy, and I got the guy to work in the camps that me and my partners own. because of this. The first day I went to practice, he's a defensive line coach. I saw him doing figure eights, duck walking through a set of offensive line shoots. Now, let me tell you, they were working their ass off, and he was working his ass off. He was wringing wet. He was coaching hard, but they duck walked. They did figure eights through that duck walking. And I sat there and I watched it, and I thought, I'm wondering what the hell that's got to do with the scheme. Who in the hell duck walks when the ball snapped or whatever, you know? And then I saw him doing a tackling drill, which is a linebacker drill called an eye opener, where you shuffle and the back hits it and whatever. It's a damn good drill, but it's unrealistic for a defensive lineman. It's a damn good linebacker drill, but it ain't really for who he was coaching. If he's been working with linebackers, I'd say it's a hell of a coaching drill, okay? Practice what's important to be successful. And this is what I'm selling this right in Atlanta, Georgia to those 15 linemen right now. Simulation. Simulation is the key. If I give you a good picture, and you give me a good picture when it's your turn to be the picture guy, we just gonna get better. The better the simulation, the more progress one makes. So, all the defensive linemen, I tell them, I sell them, I try to sell them. When you're on offense, giving that picture, when you're doing those things, that simulation is the backbone of us making progress. And I'm gonna make sure that Sean gives you a good picture too. You know what I mean? So both people grow. Simulation is so important. Here's one I think is really near and dear to my heart too. Practice with consistency. Coach Arnsberger, if you'd have come on our practice field at LSU, let me tell you what we did, and I didn't even know it until it was all over. We won 16 in a row on the road one time with him. 16 in a row on the road. And we never had easy games, but if we had easy games, they came to Baton Rouge to play. We didn't go there to play. You know what he did, Coach? He didn't make a damn if we was playing Alabama or it didn't matter who it was. The consistency of practice, the consistency of preparation. And then I worked for a guy down there who's a wonderful human being. I love him to this day. But we'd be playing Alabama. Well, he'd be up here all week. We'd be playing Mississippi State, and he'd be like this. Well, guess what? That's the way we played too. We'd be up here one week, be down here one week. We'd be back up here one week, be back down. Coach Arnsberger was like this. It was like this. The only people that ever beat our ass in the time he was there were people who were a hell of a lot better than us. Consistency in practice is so good, regardless of who the opponent is. And here it is. Here's Pete Jenkins right here, guys. Stay with fundamentals. Stay with fundamentals. I read in the paper sometimes, I hear some coach say this sometimes, or whatever. We're going back to fundamentals. We're going back to fundamentals. Guys, y'all know what that means? He got his ass whipped last week. That's what it means. He's getting his ass whipped. Stay with fundamentals. Find some way to include things and stay with the fundamentals. If you do that, you're going to keep improving as the season progresses. Stay with your fundamentals, okay?
Hey, Coach, can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
Can I put up one light on? Do you mind?
Sure.
Well, let's see.
Yeah,
That's good. All right. Then I think I can turn that one.
You're a good man, Coach.
Well, we'll try. I don't say that yet.
All right.
Is that better?
There you go.
We're good?
Better?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Practice with an advanced plan.
Sweet.
I just remember this situation at LSU one time years ago. We're going to work goal line defense, goal line offense, goal line defense, and we're going to work it the last period or two of the practice. They had a departmental exam, and we had been told that. So we're getting ready to go to the goal line. These guys have got to get off the practice field early because of this departmental exam. It wasn't a teacher, it was a departmental exam, okay? So here goes about 5 of the goal line starters on offense and about 7 of the goal line starters on defense. horseshit plan. Bad plan. So, weather, school schedule. My wife once worked for a principal. She didn't like her very much. She's a 4th grade teacher. And the principal planned awards day the day school was out. No, I'm sorry, the day after school was out. My wife told me that. I said, y'all gonna tell her? She said, we're gonna wait till the damn last minute and break the news to her. But that's not a plan. That's not a good advanced plan. You wanna have an advanced plan based on all kind of stuff. I was in a school this year. Guy had a really tough practice on Monday because he knew bad weather he was getting ready for the state championship game. He knew bad weather was coming in on Tuesday and Wednesday. He changed his whole thinking on Monday and got that practice in because he knew the weather. That's an advanced plan, okay? But that's important, I think, too. Hit that thing, please. Okay. I think this is important too, guys. Practice any funky stuff that the opponent has. Don't wait till Wednesday or Thursday to put that stuff out there for. You're never going to get good execution. Sean, practice it early in the week. Have the plan where you introduce it first part of the week, early as you can practice, and then stick it in every team period. If you'll do that, by the time when the game rolls around, they're used to it. It ain't nothing new for them. You might get execution against it, but anything that's unusual, practice it early in the week and practice it often during the week. Okay? Practice the obvious. Substitution. I worked for a guy named Paul Dietzel. Anybody remember Paul Dietzel? Pepsi Paul Dietzel. He was a big name coach at one time. I'm telling you, a big name guy. And he used to tell us, he'd say, guys, look, they don't know the trap from the sweep sitting in them stands. They don't know zone from man. So they assume you know. They can't say too much because they don't know. But the minute you put 10 out there, or 12 out there, they can count to 11. Now they figure they're smarter than you are. So if you want to create problems for yourself, get caught. Get caught. And don't give me that shit, we average 11 either. I don't want to hear that again. You get 11 out there, that's what you want to do, okay? So substitution. I saw it this year. I saw it with Les Miles down at Ole Miss. I'm telling you, they reeling still in Baton Rouge about it. I don't know where y'all saw it. It's a nationally televised game. He gave the quarterback a spike it call. And they had it on YouTube. He was walking down the sideline. They had his voice overlaid. He was walking down the sideline doing this, like this, and you could hear him in the back. You could hear the overlay saying, "I didn't tell him to spike it." Don't think that ain't gonna be over for a long time now. I'm telling you. I mean, it could wind up being the straw that breaks the damn camel's back, to be honest with you. But you want to practice and have a plan for those things. 2-minute overtime situation, offense and defense, last play, saving practice. We practice the last play of the game all the day. I mean, I get tired of it on Thursday. I get tired of it. We playing up in Kentucky and win the damn game after the horns blow. Last play of the game. So, I mean, it's important that you work on situations, obvious situations, and create a time in your practice schedule where you cover those kind of things. Okay? I ain't gonna say much about this one, but we all give it lip service. The smart people practice it. The smart people practice it. So, I'm just gonna hug you. I'm not saying nothing about that. I just think if you don't do it, you're gonna, if you don't pay the damn fiddler, you're gonna pay for it sometime. This is a big one with me too. This is a big one with me. In my little gumbo, this is big. Situational football. the game, your game, the NFL game, the JV game is all it is a group of situations together. That's all it is. It's here's a situation. Guess what? Whatever happened to them is a direct result. Now you got another situation. Okay? But practice situational football to where they're comfortable with things like that. Create those things in practice and you'll be happy on Friday night. Okay. I think that's really big. By the way, you're doing a good job on it. Let me be the first to tell you. Okay. I believe this is true of all of us, guys. I don't give a damn. I'm older than anybody in here, okay? But I can tell you right now, this is important to me, and I did it for 43 years. What to teach? And let me tell you, if you're a head coach, those guys that are on that field for you, y'all ought to know everything that's being taught here at this program. I wouldn't let him just teach. I'd make sure everybody knew what he was teaching. And not him, everybody. Knowing what to teach and being sure that you're teaching things that are relative, okay? How to teach it. How to teach it. How am I going to teach it? And how long and how often do I teach it? Next one, please. All right. This is what I wanted to visit with you about as we got into football. At FF.
Yeah. Right on me and then get the
It's Paul. Yeah, I know it. You blew it. I'll give you another chance. Okay, I was telling Bill at breakfast this morning. He took me to a damn place you can get hurt for breakfast. They got a lot of good food there. They got a lot of food, a lot of good food, and a lot of it. Okay, we were talking this morning, guys, and I want to share. I want to share this with you because I think this is important. In the late '60s, I worked. My first college job was a place called Troy State University down in Alabama. Okay, and let me tell you, it's a small college with tradition. There's been a bunch of staffs there that can say they won the national championship. It's really been hard to screw up. It's that kind of a program. They get good athletes. There's something in the damn water that'll knock your ass off. I mean, it's just a wonderful small school to coach at. I worked for a guy, and y'all won't remember this guy. He was an All-American at Auburn. His name was Billy Atkins. And Billy was a 49er for a long time. He was a punter, he was a backup kicker. And back in those days when he was playing, they had what they called player coaches. So Billy was a kicking guy, but he also worked as a coach during the rest of practice and stuff like that. You know, Coach Bryant used to make the kickers go steady after they got done kicking. He had a damn place down there with shade. He'd say, y'all get your ass down there steady. Bring your books out here. I mean, they ain't got shit to do after they kick. You know? So, and then I got one friend that makes them film. They film the damn practice. After the specialty period, they become cameramen. But anyways, Billy was a kicker that was involved in the coaching. I saw Billy fire 3 people on the practice field. One guy was a offensive line coach, and they were talking about on a pull. Is it an open step? Is it a pivot, crossover? They argued about it for about 2 months. And the guy taught it wrong on the practice field, and Billy fired his ass right on the practice field. And when he fired you, you got the next month's check. That month you were working, and your ass is it. One of them contracts. That's just where it was. Okay. Now what Billy would do, and he's gone, he's dead. God bless him. What he would do He would come in the mornings on Sunday, and he would look at the film of the offense, then he'd bring us in and look at the film of the defense, okay? And let me say this to you. He would say, he'd look at that 5 and he'd say, did you work those fives on this? Maybe we weren't doing it very good. Guys, you needed to be able to say yes. Because it was hell to pay to say no. Okay? And you better not tell a lie, because you're going to go back and look at your damn practice schedules and stuff that you did in the week. So I was scared Billy would fire me. I was a young guy. Shit, I just made my first college job. It was my desire to coach in college. I was afraid he'd fire my ass. I think about it now sometimes. I took more shit off that man than anybody else. The ordinary citizen, I'd have punched him right in the damn between his eyes. But I didn't want him to fire my ass. Because I wanted to move up I wanted to coach college football. Right. But he made me do this, and it was for the wrong reasons. He made me make damn sure that I was doing the right things for my players, the important things for my players, that I was taking that damn opponent, and I knew everything. I knew blocking schemes, protections, I knew everything. And I started keeping me a damn list. And we go in there on Sunday morning, he said, you work on so-and-so? And I'd say, Coach, I worked on it for 8 minutes on Tuesday, and I came back and worked on it for 5 minutes polished on Thursday. So all I'm doing is laying the blame on the players. That's all I'm doing. But I'm getting it off my ass. You know, that's why I'm trying to keep my job. Then in the late 70s, I went to work at the University of Florida for a guy named Charlie Pell, who y'all might remember. Charlie, he tried to kill himself. He was on Oprah talking about, he went on a nationwide thing trying to get people not to take their life. And he tried to kill himself, and he called his patrol, his guy that took care of him in Florida, told him where to find the body. And he went to there and he put a hose from the back of the car, the tailpipe into the car, and he was drinking vodka. And what happened is he got sick. And so when he left the word for the patrolman got sick that day at lunch, went home early, and found the message from Billy, from Charlie, and sent a patrol car there and saved his life. Here's what he said to me, guys. You know what? You got to be pretty damn low to try to take your life. Can you imagine how damn low you are when you find out you screwed that up? I said, wow, it's unbelievable to think about. Okay? But he had another approach to me as a young guy like you. He had another approach. When you came to work for him, he'd say, okay, I want you to go home tonight. I want you to make me a list of everything the front guy does, or the linebacker, or the DB, whoever you're coaching. I want to know in the running game what's important. I want to know what he's got to learn to do for us to win the championship and become proficient in it. I want to say the passing game, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to make this list. Well, hey, guys, I get a good job at the University of Florida. Hell, I finally got out of that brown paper bag league and all that stuff. I made me a long list now. I gave that a lot of thought. Then one day when they did a little something in the off season, he'd say, go up there, Will, and go to the board. No, that's what he'd say to me. And then he'd say, here, I got your list here. I'm going to call it skill. I'm going to call it out. You write it on the board. Then I want you to tell me the drill where you teach it. Okay? And how you teach it. And don't tell me team period, because that's bullshit. You polish your team period. When are you going to teach it? Okay? And how much time are you going to spend? Okay, so I call it the Pell method of teaching football. That's where I learned it. And it's affected me for the rest of my damn life. It affects me here tonight. It affects me in my job in Atlanta. The skill, the drill, and the tactic, okay? Those are the components of Charlie's teaching football to your players, which is your responsibility. Okay. The skill, football skills, both mental and physical, relative to positional needs and successful execution. All right, here's what I'm saying to you. You identify those things. If it's a DB, he's got things that you identify. If it's a linebacker, he's got things you identify. If it's a lineman, he's got things you identify. Football skills, mental and physical, relative to positional needs. Okay? That's how he identified the skill. Okay, that's where that came. I shouldn't have paused him quite so much, you know. All right. Now, here's a story of Pete Jenkins right here. This is where Pete Jenkins screwed this up. All right? Go back, please, Coach. All right, we got a blitz on here. Stop it right there just for a minute. We got a blitz on. We got a zone blitz on here. And what happens on this thing is, here's my defensive end right here. Okay. Now, here's what we were teaching him. He's going to wrap here, but if this tackle blocks down, he's now going to add here. He's going to abort this, and he's going to add right there. Okay? All right. Well, let's watch it. Tackle blocks down. See it right there? Now look at this window. He should have gone right there. He should have gone right there. Look at that window. Bad play. Bad. Look. I love Jenkins. 75 stop. I love him. He's a great young man. Okay? That was as much my fault as it was his. Now, that situation rarely came up in team. So what I should have done is remember what Coach Pell told me and created that situation to teach him. All right? So when we're watching it, I tell Jim, I screwed that up. I ain't working on it. I screwed that up. Okay? But I'll get it fixed. So a couple weeks later, same situation occurs here against Dallas. And rather than wrap, watch him, you didn't even see him hesitate, and he sees Flozell block down, and we get a sack and a cause fumble. Go ahead and run it, because there's 3 games up. Flozell blocks down, add right now. And there's one of the views, here he is up here, you can see him look at Flozell. They got the fumble, unfortunately, but it was a good play, and it disturbed him. Here it is right here. Okay. So, that's an example of a screw up, I think, but it's a skill that was involved that I didn't have a drill to work on. Now, I can tell you guys, I got me a drill, and I would have you read it. And he blocks down, you add. He doesn't block down, you fold to the 8. Yes, and I put that in there just where you know that I ain't no different than everybody else. I screwed the things up. But I tell you one thing now, I got it fixed. It didn't happen again. Okay? Now the drill is a teaching process designed to help your player understand. That's important. When I read this to my wife, she liked that. Understand. That's important. and become physically proficient